Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, and should we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today in, as is tradition, a late night episode of Animal Crossing. Although, to be fair, this one feels certainly a lot more, I'm not sure I should say motivated or justified, because that feels like it's disingenuous to the other times, but this one is certainly because I returned home pretty late. And if you watch yesterday's episode, which I hope went up okay, and I mean, if I got any comments, that was the word. I said it didn't. I don't know about it. Oh, I have 666 subscribers. Isn't that interesting? Good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 11:51 p.m. on Sunday, October 29th, 2023. Yeah, what was I saying? Yes. If you didn't watch yesterday's episode, then you might not know, but yesterday, actually, I was busy because I went with a few friends to an amusement park. I don't know why I'm being coy about it. The amusement park is called Fort Park, which is, we don't have that many amusement parks in the UK. The big names are Fort Park, Alton Towers, Chessington, World of Adventures, Legoland, probably are the big ones, but there might be another one, but I don't really know. Those are the ones I've been to. Fort Park's actually one I've been to quite a lot when I was younger, and I haven't been to it, I think, for about a decade or so, and not since school time when we had a school trip there. But this time was a bit different because we went during like Halloween days, aka Fright Night days, which is not something I've experienced before. I haven't been to really like a Halloween. Okay, no, that's not true. I was gonna say I've never been to a Halloween party. That's not true. I've been to like Halloween-esque events, especially during like university times, but those aren't like really the same sort of deal as this one. This one was a lot more casual about it. Like in the morning, nothing really happened. So I suppose we related to Halloween. So it was just like we're all walking around in like we all dressed up like in Halloween things. I dressed up as a plague doctor. I think I mentioned. Sort of. I didn't like fully don the entire thing. Like my plan was basically just to, as I talked about it in the leading up to it, was I wanted something which could double as like a regular outfit as well as use as a Halloween outfit. So what I ended up doing was I got like a vintage black dress, not like properly vintage as far as I know, but like vintage inspired. It has a very sort of like Victorian style to it. I got like a corset with it, and I bought some other like extraneous props, things like a flat hat, which that's also like a clothing item. I got like a hood cloak thing, which isn't really isn't really a clothing item. I was considering actually buying like a decent cloak like thing off Etsy, but I was like, okay, what's it? Spend £8 on it and spend £30 on it. I'm not gonna wear it about the same amount, so I just bought a cheap one off Amazon. I bought some props. I bought some I bought like a night lamp, like a retro lamp, and I bought plastic lilies because I thought it'd be fun to because lilies are morning flowers. So I thought it'd be fun and that sort of thing. But I didn't really use those props all that often because my plan was, since the Fright Night itself, a Halloween party thing doesn't start until about 3 p.m, was I was just going to wear like my usual outfit, and then 3 p.m. rolls around, and when Halloween things start happening, I will switch into my actual like Halloween outfit. But then I ended up sort of like giving away my Halloween pieces to like, my friends, so they'd be more, not maybe more Halloweeny, but like I was like, it just suits them better, so I was like, why not? And then it got cold, so I ended up putting like a coat on or like a jacket on instead to warm up. But yeah, I went as a plague doctor. And actually, the biggest thing, which I think sort of detracted from my plague doctor outfit, is the fact that, at least at Fort Park, I'm calling you out here, it says that maybe it does actually say it, but I didn't see it. But it says that most of the information says you can't wear a mask during Halloween Fright Night events, and I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll just carry around a mask. I'll like attach it to my belt or something, so it's very clear what I'm meant to be, even if I can't wear a mask. I understand why that's a rule. They don't want people to cover their face, especially when they have a lot of their employees, I suppose, walking around a mask. It's perhaps too easy, I suppose, to disguise as one of them, and if something bad happens, you won't be able to be identified, I suppose. But while we were going through bag check, the security person was like, is that a mask? And I was like, yeah, but I'm not going to wear it, so is that fine? And he was like, no, you can't bring it in. I was like, I can't bring it in? And he's like, yeah, you can't bring it into the park. And I was like, what? it's pretty crazy. Like, I understand why it's a rule, but that definitely should be mentioned somewhere, which it might be, to be fair, in which case, that's fair enough. But I feel like it's not crazy, I would say, as a rule, but like it's not really mentioned or those places. Like I saw things about, I was like, oh, you know, you come in costumes, but you're not allowed to wear masks. I didn't realise that meant you're literally not allowed to bring masks into the place. You can't even like keep it in your bag or something. I thought it would be like, oh, you can bring it in, but if someone sees you wearing a mask, a staff member will be like, hey, take off that mask or something. But apparently it's just like a full-on ban. So it was like, okay, well, I've gone through security, quote through the queue. So I was starting off with a bit complaining because it felt like a bit blindsided, and I was a bit sad because I was just like, I can't really do my outfit. But really, on the grand scheme of things, it was not that big a deal. I remember we had to go like back to a car. I had to put like my mask away because I was like, okay, and then I came back to it, and I came back again to get through to Fort Park. But yeah, like I say, it was a fun time, you know. But like, I've been to Fort Park multiple times. I think I've even spoken about Fort Park a few times before. It has been, again, about a decade since I've been, so there were some rides I hadn't gone on. So, actually, I think I'd gone on all of them. I'm not sure if I actually went on Saw or not. I thought I did go on Saw last time, but I'm not sure if it was actually here last time I went to Fort Park. But I thought I did, off the top of my head. But when I was, like, walking up to ride, I was like, I don't recognise this. I was imagining something else. So, I think I didn't ride Saw before. And can I just say, the Saw ride is actually probably the greatest ride in Fort Park. So I don't really think I rode anything all that crazy different. Like we did standard things. We started with Colossus. That's an old one I've been on about, like, maybe not hundreds of times, but tens of times. And then we did Swarm, which is one I've been on once before, because that one, the period of time I went to Fort Park multiple times was like a child, when I was like a child to like preteen, and then we went again when I was a teenager during a school trip, and that's when Swarm was reasonably new then, and I went on it then. And I went on again, and you know, Swarm's a pretty cool thing. I think I describe it most as being like, there's a lot of like close calls, sort of is how I describe it. Well, it looks like they're close calls, but obviously they're engineered not to be. Like, you pass through like really small gaps, and it looks like you're about to hit something, and it swerves you out of the way just in time. And I like its setup. I like Swarm's setup. And then we went on Nemesis, which was pretty cool. No, well, we went on Saw first, and then we went on Nemesis. But Saw was crazy. Like, I guess mild spoilers, it tries to sort of jump scare you, quote, but through roller coaster mechanics. It doesn't jump scare you via like actual jump scares, and it's actually a very creative and thematic roller coaster, I thought. So that's why it ended up being my favourite. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, we have these like Fright Night events going on, which is basically sort of like Halloween-esque events going on in Fort Park where you can do stuff. They're not like crazy spooky or scary or anything like that, but they're like a fun time. There are a few events, like there's one which you had to pay for, which was like a corn maze, I think, which, you know, I think if you're in America, maybe that's a lot more common to you. Maybe if you live in Iowa, I think that's the home of corn, right? And I don't know, but that's a very unusual thing to see in the UK. But it seems like a really fun thing to do, you know, just like a haunted maze. There's like actors walking around just looking to scare you or whatever. If you're signing up to have a spooky time, why not have a spooky time? There's also Ghost Train, which is like a ride which is, I think, repurposed on Darren Brown's like train ride thing, Magical Express, I don't know, which is pretty cool. It was basically, you know, you sit on a train. It basically emulates like the London Underground, except for now it's all like haunted. It's like, oh, you're taking over the last ride to like a stop you're never meant to go to. You're going to be like cursed, and there's ghosts and stuff. I'm not going to spoil exactly what happens, but the actors were very good, and it had a nice spooky atmosphere, I say. I think I'm not the greatest judgment necessarily how scary things are, because, and I think I talked about this before, but if things are manufactured and fake, I tend to not find them scary. Of course, if this happened in real life, I would probably like be reasonably scared. But apart from that, you know, it's hard for me, I suppose, to separate the fact that it is at the end just like a theatrical performance. I can still enjoy it, of course, for what it's worth, but it doesn't mean that it necessarily would invoke the same reactions in me as an actual real experience would, if that makes sense. But I still like them. If anything, it makes my enjoyment go higher, because it means I can continuously seek out these things, and I know I'm not going to be like I've no aversion to it, I suppose, but I still get a similar amount of interest in it. And it was really cool. The acting pair were like super good. They were super into the role and everything. It's the sort of thing where it looks actually quite fun to like be one of those actors, I suppose, to, you know, do these like character things and try and spook people. Probably tiring at the same time and dealing with people, and but there's probably like every 100 people you spook, one of them ends up punching you in the face accidentally or something, which was not great. So yeah, but the Ghost Train thing was pretty cool. But Maze, of course, we didn't have those tickets, so we don't really know what the Core Maze was like, but I assume it's fun. And I think there were 4 other Halloween things. 2 of them were performances. So one was like a metal, like punk rock sort of concert thing, where, I don't know, there was just like a band playing, and then like opposite it, there was like a stage of like jeering people dressed up as like demons or devils, which they were honestly quite amusing. They were sort of like having their own entertainment along the crowd, and honestly the band was pretty good. I don't really remember what they played, but just I'm sure you can like fill in the blanks. And there was another one. I think that one was called like Lucifer Stage or something. There was another one which I can't remember. I think it was called like Creature something, which was a performance, but we didn't see it. At least I didn't see it. Like there was a group, there was like 9 of us or something, and we split up into groups every now and then. But I don't think we passed it during any of the performance hours. So I can't really tell you what that entails, but I'm sure it's fine. And then there were 2 sort of like event things which you did together to have a sort of like Halloween fun time. There were 2 of them. There was one called Death's Door, just like the game, you might say, and yes, just like the game. And there was one called, what was the other one called? Oh, it was called like, I can't remember. It was like, it starts with M's, like, it was like, it's not Margie, it was like Marv's Magical, it wasn't called Cornfield, I can't remember, but it was basically a walking tour. We'll start with that one, whatever it's like walking things. I feel like it was called like the Crows or Ravens something, which is of course very vague, and I can't really recall exactly its name, but it's something along those lines. But basically it was like a walking thing. You would walk from like a little bit, just like a winding paths. It was I guess like a haunted attraction rather than like a haunted house necessarily. A haunted walk maybe, and you walk through, and there were like actors who of course were dressed, honestly their costume was pretty cool. There was like a lot of them dressed up as scarecrows. They had like the sack heads and a load of straw, and they'd like walk up to you and sort of like meander around and like really creepy, like rhino zombies, and then suddenly they sort of like lunge at you a little bit. Not like a full-on like jump at you, but they do like a quick step, like stomp their foot down and go like in your face, and you sort of just go like or anything like that. Well, depending on how extreme I suppose your actions are. Sorry, Wisp, I'm not going to talk to you because I don't think we had time. And it was pretty cool to walk around and see all the actors, I suppose, getting their spook on. No one says anything like that. I don't know why I said that. Honestly, I think they all did a very good job. The costuming seemed fun. I remember there was dedication of this one scarecrow person just like continuously following this couple as almost like completely until they exited. I don't know how it feels, I suppose, when you're an actor and actress, by the way, because like I'm me, and I was with a friend, and we both have very sort of like we both like very spooky and creepy, like horror-esque things, to the extent where I think we both have very sort of mild reactions to them in the first place. I'm not going to say we're impervious to jump scares. I'm sure we will still get spooked from time to time, but I think we certainly have a lower efficacy rate on us. I wanted to, my friend brought up a very interesting point. I was like, it's probably like kind of frustrating, I suppose, to not be able to get like a good spook off on that sort of thing. So, it sort of entices them to try harder to try and scare you. And I was like, I never really thought about that before. I thought they might just find it like kind of amusing, just how dead the reactions are, I suppose. Like, obviously, the pinnacle is when you get someone who's super scared, but obviously having a good time at the same time, they're sort of like shrieks and then they immediately start laughing or something like that. You don't want someone who's actually like genuinely scared and terrified. They should not be in the ride if they're actually genuinely scared or terrified, in my opinion. But if they're facing a fear, then more power to you, I suppose. Don't let me stop you. But the people who are like very like jumpy, like big reactions are obviously people feel more enticed towards, right? Like it's the whole reason like these big, like the YouTube sort of meta is striving towards like massive reactions and things like that, right? Because it's just amusing, and I don't know, I guess it's entertaining in a certain way, and I'm not going to pretend I don't also find it entertaining. So those are probably what you want best. So I guess it probably is kind of frustrating to get someone who just like doesn't really react to whatever you do in the first place. But I feel like it would be an interesting challenge to be like, all right, well, we're going to get them somehow. But of course, when in this sort of attraction, you know, it's not really tailor made for each person. You only have so much time, but you have like seconds, I suppose, to try and scare someone before, you know, you're not allowed to anymore because you have to keep moving. You know, but this is a public park, not public park, but a public theme park with huge amounts of like foot traffic going in every single day. I'm sure if you went on a more quiet day, like if you went during one of the weekdays or something, not during half term or something, you'd be able to just like be able to casually meander through. There'd be like 10 of you going through at once instead of like 50. And the scare actors would probably like commit more hard to try and like spook you in very particular ways. And I think that sounds like fun, doesn't it? I mean, you might say no, but fair enough. But Fawnhallow is just sort of like a walk through like a farmyard, I suppose. I don't remember anything else particularly significant happening in it. The cool one, in my opinion, was like Death's Door, which at first I wasn't like super sold on. Not because of like the title or anything, but apparently what you do is like you walk around and like all the actors are like in behind these characters are like behind these doors, and you walk up and you like knock twice on them, and they open up and they do like a spiel to scare you and retreat. Not every door has an actor behind it, so it's sort of encouraging you to just like knock on all of them and wait and see, and they might catch you off guard. And you know, initially I was like, I'm not super sold by this. This just seems like a scare thing, except for, you know, it's even more premeditated. You know exactly when it's going to happen because you're like enticing yourself. But there are a lot of like actors just sort of like meandering about, and some of those characters are actually like genuinely very entertaining. When you knocked on my door and that sort of thing, like it felt like there was a much more of a back and forth, because on the scare walk you're just sort of walking through and the scarecrows are just sort of just like eyeing you up creepily, while these ones were like, we're allowed to, these ones, that's very demeaning, I mean, they were allowed to like talk and have sort of like a report and a back and forth. I mean, we were like listening to like this other group have a back and forth of, I don't know, I couldn't really tell what she was. I think she was like a cannibal baker or something. No, I was gonna say Sweeney Todd, but I think Sweeney Todd might be a dentist, I can't remember. I'm having like a sarcastic report, and it was also amusing that there was this plague doctor who was actually there, you know, my brethren, or my family, I suppose. And they were calling out like my friend, being like, you're like severely malnourished or whatever, because he was like dressed as a skeleton. He had like a skeleton onesie on. And another one, like one of my friends had like a pointy ears, and they started calling him witch, because of like a dark magic, I suppose, aura they exuded. Is that a word? I think that's a word. And the final thing was when I had an umbrella, because it was by the way, it was like pouring down in rain, like stop and start, and we were just like watching, you know, as I mentioned before, the cannibal baker, and then the play just sort of like snuck up at me and just like poked her head around, was just like, hello, and I was like, oh, hi. And then I just like put my umbrella over her, and she was like, oh, that's very nice of you. It's like the veil dropped a little bit. No, not totally, because it was still like in a very creepy sense. And I got a picture with her. If I can find it again, like a friend was like, I gotta take a picture, and I was like, you know what, that's a great idea. So I took a picture with a flash on, because it was like pitch black or whatever. How can I describe it? Let me find the picture again. I don't know where it is. They seem like we're having a great time. It's me. I'm doing like the peace sign or whatever. I've got a big smile on my face, just holding up my umbrella. And then the play doctor is just like next to me. Like, I can only describe the expression as them going like, rah. It's pretty good. I didn't notice how much like blood and like sores, like makeup sores, of course, were one of them as well. But that seemed like fun. I would absolutely do something like that, to sort of like wander about and try and spook people. I don't know if I'd be necessarily very good at it, to a certain degree. I think I could stand there and look very creepy, but I don't know if I'd have a... And I feel like I could have a sort of like improv witty side, but I don't think I'd be able to blend them very well into a scary side. Or maybe I would, I don't know. What if I just maniacally laugh at all the same stuff? I know, it's actually quite right. More mead, that's what it's called. I see there was a picture of it. So yeah, I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool. Again, I would love to have these much more tailored like personal experience by having it be like a personal haunted house thing. You book in with like a group of 4 and you walk through a haunted house, and it's like super spooky in that sense, rather than there's only so much you can do when like 100 people are coming in like every single minute, right? Okay, maybe 100 minutes is a bit exaggerated, but like 10 people a minute is like you can't really spend a lot of time giving each person personal scares. You just sort of have to go up to some girl like grab, and when you see a good opportunity, you have a bit of a rapport with it. With them, but yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It was a fun Fright night. It's fun to see like actually a lot of people in costumes. In the morning, I was like, wow, there was like no one in costume, but obviously it was a morning. A lot of people ended up coming in later to be like, oh, let's participate in Fright night. Well, I guess they put the costumes on later. So it's cool to see how many people like actually came in costume. Just would have been cool if I was allowed a mask, but again, I understand why I wasn't. On the plus side, I still have his Plague Doctor outfit, and I'm like set for all future Halloweens until someone invites me to the same Halloween party twice, and then I was like, then I'd have to get a different outfit or something. But now, like, I've got my go-to Halloween outfit. It's a Plague Doctor. I got props. It's flexible. I can do whatever I want with it, and I can actually use most of the components as clothes, which is a job well done. I think mission accomplished is what I mean. But anyway, I'm going to round this episode off here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now. Maybe I should have spoke about this on Halloween rather than today. Ah well.